Hello folks, today I'm at the River Tweed. What an absolutely beautiful river this is. I've walked many stretches of the Tweed and it's by far my favourite river. And I have many favourite rivers, but the River Tweed is just a superb place, going through so many different parts of the country into England, and a fabulous place. The Eildon Hills, not too far in the background there. It's actually been, I was looking this morning, it's actually been about 18 months since I climbed the Eildon Hills, and I must do again, because on a day like this the views are just absolutely superb. And of course it's packed, it's jam-packed with history. And if you know where the Eildon Hills are, you'll know that I'm very close to the town of Melrose. And Melrose has very distinct associations with King Robert the Bruce. Melrose Abbey, of course, is associated with the interment of the heart of Robert the Bruce. I mean, Melrose is one of these border abbeys that they all played a prominent role, because the border abbeys were in the firing line of any English invasion, and they all had a time when they were torched and ransacked at one point. But yeah, Robert the Bruce's heart is interred in Melrose Abbey, and I have a story for you about the Bruce heart. Some of you may, or some of you may not have noticed me wearing this before. I've worn it occasionally, but not all the time. Come on. This is one of my prized possessions. This is the Bruce oak heart, and this is made from what was known as the Bruce oak. Now, the Bruce oak stood on Strathleven estate, where Bruce's manor home in the parish of Cardross at the town of Renton was, in Dunbartonshire. The Bruce oak is between 700 and 1,000 years old, and some say quite possibly even planted by King Robert the Bruce himself. It was certainly on his estate. It certainly thrived during his lifetime, and if it wasn't for, it's a sad ending actually, but if it wasn't for an act of vandalism in 2004, it would still be standing. The Bruce oak measured, now some of the Strathleven Artisans can correct me if I'm wrong here, but it measured something like 29 feet in circumference, and it was over 18 foot in height. A marvellous specimen of one of Scotland's ancient oak trees. But although the act of vandalism is sad, it did not end the tree, certainly as we know it, but it did not end the tree. Strathleven Artisans salvaged what they could from the tree, and then it has been repurposed since that time, and it's put to good use. Now, this was given to me from my very good friend Duncan Thompson, Stout Duncan of the Strathleven Artisans, and he looks after the Robert the Bruce Heritage Centre in Renton, which I'm going to recommend that you absolutely go to. But this little heart here from the Bruce oak, it has its own little characteristic. It is absolutely beautiful, and it has this little indentation in it which gives it its uniqueness as far as I'm concerned. But this is part of the Bruce oak. I was presented with this from Duncan, and it is one of my most treasured possessions. I wear this around my neck. It travels with me many places. It really is an absolute gem. It's directly linked to King Robert the Bruce, and to have something like this is really, really valuable, precious, and very sentimental to me to have this. I absolutely love it. Part of the Bruce oak from Robert the Bruce's estate, where he spent the last few years of his life before he died in 1329. I intend to take this heart on many adventures with me, as long as my life will allow. It was Robert the Bruce's dying wish. Here's a remarkable story about the Bruce oak. It was Robert the Bruce's dying wish that his heart be cut out and taken on crusade to the Holy Land, because he never got the opportunity to fight in the Crusades. They endeavoured to carry out his wish, but en route to the Holy Land, James Douglas, the Black Douglas, or the good Sir James, depending where you come from, was in charge of the expedition of knights with that task. But they took a detour, and they were guests at King Alfonso of Spain's court, and of course James Douglas was killed helping him fight the Moors, and a certain William de Keith came back with the remains of Douglas in Bruce's heart, where it was interred at Melrose Abbey. A heart was cut and crafted from the Bruce oak, and Strathleven Artisans, I can't remember the name, please forgive me, I can't remember the name of the guy who volunteered to do it, but the heart was taken on that journey, and it was presented at the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, according to Bruce's dying wish. What a marvellous gesture to a group who are out to promote awareness in the history of Robert the Bruce. That's a great story. The oak has also been used in other areas. The oak was used along with Wallace woods, the Wallace yew from Elderslie, to make a replica of the throne that Robert the Bruce sat on. And it's also used to make lots of other trinkets and memorabilia that promote awareness of Robert the Bruce. It's a marvellous story. I was out with Duncan when I made the film Land of the Elms, which is about the possible site of Robert the Bruce's manor home, where he spent those last 3 years of his life. And we went to where the location of the Bruce oak was, and you can still see the rotten remains of it in that wood. But it's great that it was salvaged. It's great that they did something not only productive with it, but something so creative. And there are still creative ideas coming out from it, and they're a great bunch of volunteers who do this just for the love of Scottish history. And go along to Renton, the Robert the Bruce Heritage Centre there. It's free to get in. It has a host, a myriad of interesting artefacts, and Stout Duncan, who was Robert the Bruce's personal bodyguard. You will meet Duncan Thompson, otherwise known as Stout Duncan, who looks after the centre. He has an abundance and wealth of stories about King Robert the Bruce, and he will make you feel right at home. So it was just fitting that I was out for a drive today. We're along the River Tweed. We are a very short distance from Melrose Abbey, and I'm just thinking it's a shame because the Abbey is covered in terrace fencing and scaffolding, and it's really unsightly at the moment, but I'll see what the crowds are like, and I may just pop in there and place my heart above the heart of Robert the Bruce. As you can see, this is the good side. There's so much extensive work that's happening over here, but we're in Melrose Abbey, and I just want to make myself beautiful place when it's in all its glory, but just want to take myself over to here. This is where it's thought to be the burial place for the heart of Robert the Bruce. A noble heart may have nae knees, and I'm just going to place my own heart on the stone. That is a symbol of my appreciation of being privileged enough and honoured enough to have a Bruce heart and to wear the Bruce heart on my person and to present it here where the heart of Robert the Bruce is quite something. Perhaps one day we can see it back to some form of glory. Melrose Abbey, the resting place of King Robert the Bruce heart. Of course, Robert the Bruce's viscera is interred in Leven Grove Park, near the village of Renton in Dunbartonshire, and of course his body lies in Dunfermline Abbey. It's such a shame to see Melrose Abbey like this, and you'd be thinking, much work would be getting done, but from what I've heard through the grapevine, this could be like this for at least the next 10 years, and there are many historic monuments surrounded by this hideous fencing that will never be worked on. And that is just not right for the current generation that want to explore their history and the generation to come. Melrose, though, is a beautiful place. The Eildon Hills surrounding it. I often wonder if Bruce had gone up those hills and looked at this marvellous view down here at the Abbey, and somehow, in a sentimental way, made his mind up and told people of his wishes that this is where he would like his heart to be after it returned from the Holy Land. So there you have it, folks. The story of the Bruce Oak, the story of the Bruce heart going on crusade. I'm sure Bruce would have been more than happy with that. And of course, the story of my own piece of Bruce history in the Bruce Oak, which I am proud to wear, to have, and to share. If you've liked this video, please subscribe, comment and share. Help the channel grow and help keep our history alive. Thanks for walking in the footsteps, folks.